You can feel it, can't you? The air is thick with memory, the kind that moves through your chest before your mind can even name it. This week, the heavens form a great circle of water. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, a current of truth that wants to cleanse what the fire once forged. You don't have to chase what's meant to rise. You just let the tide show you what's ready to be healed. Hello, beautiful ones. I'm Cindi, astrologer, mystic, and your guide through the stars. And I want you to remember I am not here to teach you something new. I'm here to help you remember what your soul already knows deep down. So stick around because eventually you will remember. Welcome to Forecasts That Shift Timelines. This is the weekly astrology forecast where we explore the energies that don't just describe your week, they rewrite your story. So, from October 26th through November 1st, the Scorpio Sun, Mars, right here, and Mercury, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, invite us into emotional truth, while Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces create a grand water trine that feels less like a forecast and more like a baptism. It's cleansing, it's revealing, and it's deeply personal. Now, you might notice waves of emotions, memories resurfacing, or old stories loosening their grip finally. That's the water element doing its work, softening what was rigid so your truth can flow again. So, beautiful ones, let's walk through it together. Let's look at the sky because it's riding in water this week. Now, the sun has entered Scorpio and it will be traveling from 3 degrees to 9 degrees this week, illuminating the terrain of emotional honesty, power, and rebirth. And with Mars and Mercury also there, this isn't surface astrology. It's truth that moves through marrow. You may feel it as a pull to face something you've avoided or an urge to reclaim what once felt taken from you. Okay? Mercury still in Scorpio as the week begins pierces illusion. Every conversation, every silence holds a confession. When it crosses into Sagittarius, so when it crosses Sagittarius on October 29th, perspective widens, pain becomes understanding, and secrets turn into stories of wisdom. Around the same window, though, Mercury forms this trine to Neptune over here. Okay. On October 30th, 31st, it's going to be exact. Okay. Connecting intuition and voice. Pay attention to words that arrive in dreams or in the space between your thoughts because they carry guidance from your soul. Venus continues her graceful path through Libra, moving from 16 to 23 degrees. She teaches that harmony isn't avoidance, it's courageous honesty. And as she squares Jupiter in Cancer around the 30th, what opens isn't ease, it's truth through contrast. So you may feel a clash between what feels nurturing and what looks beautiful, between what's comfort and what's authentic. Okay? This aspect is asking, where have you equated peace with pleasing? Jupiter magnifies what's in balance so it can finally be brought into the light in the right relationship. Okay? For some, this could surface as an emotional overextension, like giving too much just to keep harmony. For others, it's a breakthrough, realizing that genuine love expands when you stop negotiating your needs. Venus squares Jupiter reminds us that growth sometimes stretches before it soothes. Love wants to feel like truth, not performance. Okay? Then we have Mars, ruler of Scorpio, and it moves from 23 to 28 degrees during this week, igniting truth with passion. Now, Mars is going to sextile Pluto in early Aquarius, right here. This is a subtle but powerful empowerment aspect. The will is aligning with higher purpose. So you may feel bursts of clarity about what deserves your energy and what drains it. And right here, Mars is paired with Lilith. So this current reawakens the sacred feminine warrior. That's the part of you that refuses to betray yourself to maintain false peace. Now, Jupiter stays near 24-degree Cancer, radiating emotional generosity and the wisdom of care. It links beautifully with Venus and Mars, expanding relationships and creativity that support, not deplete. Growth doesn't have to burn, it can bloom through belonging. Now, Saturn and Neptune both retrograde in Pisces at 25 and 29, respectively. They continue the long dance that began a little over 2 years ago. These two have been writing a 14-year chapter on faith and form, on illusion and embodiment. Their current retrograde motion, you could think of it like the review before the rewrite. Okay. It's a preparation for their conjunction in Aries that's going to happen in February of 2026. Okay. The universal reset that ends the age of dreaming and begins one of doing. So if you felt timelines collapsing, boundaries dissolving, or inspiration returning into waves, this is why. You're hearing the echoes of a cycle that's completing itself. And then we have Uranus, newly retrograde at 0-degree Gemini. Okay, and this reactivates the collective mind. So, sudden ideas, quantum leaps in technology, spontaneous insights. This is the messenger awakening in each of us. And beneath it all is Pluto at 1-degree Aquarius, who hums like a distant thunder. Every personal revelation you have this week feeds into the collective grid of change. Together, they weave this grand water trine. Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and Scorpio stellium over here. It's emotional intelligence made divine, a current of compassion, strong enough to carry truth without drowning in it. This is the sky's way of saying, feeling is not regression, it's remembrance. Now remember, every planet tells a piece of this story, and together they form a current that we're all moving through. Now, let's bring it all home. Because honestly, the cosmos, the universe, it only matters when it meets your heartbeat. How does all of this translate into your everyday life? This week, emotions run like tide, not chaotic, but cleansing. You may sense a wave of old memories returning, not to trap you, but to free you from what you no longer need to hold. When Scorpio Sun joins Mars and Mercury, the truth becomes magnetic. You can't pretend anymore. And that is liberation in disguise. For some of you, this shows up in relationships, conversations that finally reach the heart, or truths that end the pretending. For others, it's career or purpose, realizing the power you gave away to approval or fear. Mars and Pluto are asking, what if real strength means choosing peace over performance? Venus in Libra squaring Jupiter in Cancer, right here. This stretches the heart wide open. What once felt harmonious may now feel uncertain, not because love is fading, but because it's maturing. This aspect exposes the subtle places where we give too much or hold too little in the name of keeping peace. It's the universe's way of saying real balance can't be faked. Sometimes the relationship, the project, or even the dream has to breathe differently for truth to stay alive. You might feel tension between your desire for harmony and your need for emotional honesty. What I want you to do is let that tension teach you what authentic care really looks like. Growth doesn't always feel comfortable, but it does feel real. Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces over here remind you that your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's evaluation. Boundaries built from fear, those things are dissolving and they're being replaced by ones built from self respect. You're learning to say, I can feel deeply and still stay clear. And then we have the moon's path. It tells the story of movement, beginning with Capricorn, Capricorn structure, and ending with Pisces surrender. Early in the week, you'll want to organize, as it's in here, plan and control. But by the week's end, you'll crave stillness and flow. Let both have their moment. Structure is how water learns its shape, and surrender is how it finds the ocean. As the moon drifts towards Pisces, you may notice your body wanting to flow, to breathe softer, to move slower, to feel what your mind can't yet name. That's the moment when awareness becomes invitation. And that's where we move to next. Now, my beautiful ones, this is where awareness becomes embodiment. This is also where the tides of the week meet the shoreline of your body. Everything the sky revealed, the truths, the emotions, the memories, is now asking to be lived, not analyzed. You might feel waves of fatigue or maybe even the need to cry without a story attached. You might crave quiet, warmth, or time near water. That isn't regression. That, my beautiful ones, is integration. The Scorpio current is helping your system release control, all while that Grand Water Trine invites you to remember how healing actually feels. Soft, slow, cellular. So, if you notice your chest rise with a deep sigh, or your body asking for stillness, let it. That's your soul rewiring safety into your present moment. And if you're ready to take this from understanding into embodiment, to learn how to move these frequencies through breath, herbs, and nervous system awareness, I'll be guiding that inside my new inner pathway tier this week. That's where we take what the sky reveals and anchor it into the body. And now, let's let the water speak. Beautiful ones, this is the week the universe breathes through you. The Scorpio Sun uncovers what was hidden. The Venus in Libra restores grace to the heart. Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces remind you that tenderness is strength. And as the moon moves from Capricorn structure into Pisces surrender, you'll feel that shift from holding on to letting go. This isn't about forcing a breakthrough. It's about trusting the current. Let the water carry what's ready to leave. Let it refill what was dry. Neptune retrograde is asking you to dream honestly again. And Saturn retrograde, he's saying, make those dreams real. Those two, they've been traveling together for years, preparing us for that moment in 2026 when they'll meet at 0 degrees Aries, the first breath of a brand new world. You're already feeling the echo of that future in the softness returning to your body right now. So exhale. The tide is carrying you home. If this message spoke to you, make sure you're subscribed. And don't forget to hype this video so others can find it too. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Inner Pathway tier has the full deep dive, the embodiment practice, and the guided transmission waiting for you. Until next time, beautiful ones, keep your frequency clear, your choices intentional, and your heart in the flow. And remember, you are the current, not the chaos.